So the big news tonight is that a Representative Green says your second stimulus package and checks are just about to get done. Just, who is this guy? Can I just walk in Mariah Carey into the set? It's like, I don't know her. Just, this is like a bad Katy Perry Mariah Carey sketch. Where it's like, I don't know her. Who is this guy, and why does he think he knows something that we don't know? And why is he not like plastered on the front of CNBC? He's just sort of buried in an interview in Fox News. It's like, we just happened to ask guys. He has insider information. He's like, oh yeah, there's going to be a stimulus package approval this week. In a day, they're almost done. Needless to say, I was so shocked to see this interview with this Representative Green, whoever he is, that I went to the casino minutes ago, and I had to ask Sirloin. I said, Sirloin, have you heard of this Representative Green? Oh, about your stimulus? I'm like, yeah, about our stimulus. He says we're going to get our stimulus checks this week. No. I've not been tipped off about that. Cow joke. Have you heard anything? Have the cows has it been the herd that he has your stimulus? Not funny. Don't tell cow jokes. You're not a cow. You're not a cow. Just don't try cow jokes, okay? Well, I'm trying to see if anyone has heard of this. I mean, this is really quite shocking. He claims that one of the big contentions between Steve and Nancy is that Steve wants to rededicate or repurpose some money from CARES Act 1 that is unused and use it in new purposes. He doesn't want the money sitting around. Would you know anything about that? No. I mean, I'm a cow. Why would a cow know about that? Does it give me a cowalac? No, it does not give you a cowalac. Does it give me more ice cream? No, it doesn't give me more ice cream. Does it get rid of Nancy Pelosi like for 6 months? Actually, that it might. Good evening, everybody. This is Purple Power with a big, exciting development about this strange interview with this strange person that says a strange thing when we have no idea what's going on. This is an evening in which everything is possible is going weird. But tonight we have a new call to action for Purple Power. And so you need to tune in right now because this is the time and place to get refocused, rededicated for the Purple Power movement. Go to the Friends channel, subscribe, become part of the Purple Power, become part of this community. We're trying to reach 290,000 subscribers in the next 7 days. We done well today. I think already added about 1,500 since this morning. We're at 283 already. So let's try to get to 290 in the next 7 days. Also like this video. The breaking news that I'll be going over tonight is the Purple Power and our focus, because I've done a lot of news today, and I want us to refocus our call to action tonight. First, let me go over where we are as this evening. The situation is ostensibly unchanged procedurally, and apparently it's substantively unchanged. There has been no change on numbers today by Steve and Nancy. There was chatter, but there was no change on numbers. Ultimately, that's not good news because they're $500 billion apart. And ultimately, Representative Green can appear on Fox News and say they're really close, and I can say what they're also $500 billion apart. They're not, which is $500 billion. I mean, what is close? I would say close is about $200 $1 million, and they're about $500 billion apart. So yeah, I'm not buying it, Representative Green, whoever you are, but thank you, Fox News, for that wonderful interview. They will talk tomorrow. They will be exchanging papers tonight. I know you're going to drop comments about that. What are in Steve and Nancy's papers they're exchanging? They're exchanging notes to each other tonight. What are in Steve and Nancy's notes? Drop in the comments below. I want to hear what you say. You have had good jokes today, so I want to see your comments about what you think Steve and Nancy are going to drop in the comments in their little notes to each other. Today, all they did was discuss the details of their numbers, which is like, I don't understand your damn number. Your numbers are just a bunch of crap. Well, no, you, Nancy, your numbers are just too inflated. Okay, we discussed the numbers. Thank you. Have Drew Hamill issue a press release. I think that's basically what happened. The president, was not doing, wheelies in front of the hospital. So he's heading home. He's doing better, and he's doing so well he can pick up a pen and do your executive order. So tonight our refocus for the Purple Power is the following. It's tonight 29 days to the election. 29 days to the election. And what are the major issues of this country? Well, the number 2 major issues going into the polls, the voting in the 29 days from now, are COVID and the economy. And I happen to cover one of those subjects on this channel. The economy is front and center, and people are not happy. The economy is weakening, and we need to step up our action. So what is our call to action tonight? Our call to action is very simple. 29 days, you don't give us stimulus, we're not voting for you. It's as simple as that. I don't care who you are, we're voting you out. And now, this is where I'm going to tailor the tone. You can decide whether you agree with me or not. I mean, this is not a dictatorship. I'm not the, that's Nancy Pelosi, that's not me. You can ultimately decide if you agree with the tone. But I think the tone would be more persuasive if we have really, at this point, made it very clear in almost past tense that you have not given us our stimulus. Hence, we're voting you out. Because what appears to be the case that Nancy Pelosi has done is that she has gotten wind of the Purple Power. She has gotten wind of the problem solver. She's gotten wind of the pushback from her. And so what she's trying to do is say, don't say I'm not doing anything, I'll do something, but I'm not really doing anything. And so by saying, if you don't give me stimulus, I'm voting you out, well, what she's doing in response is, okay, I'll work on stimulus. And I'll keep on working stimulus to the very last day of the election, and then eventually you'll still not get stimulus. And so ultimately, it may look like we're sort of chasing a carrot with this, with people that keep on saying, there's progress, there's progress, there's progress, when there is no progress. There's no progress unless you tell us what exactly are the numbers. And we heard progress on Friday. We did not hear progress on Saturday, and we did not hear progress on Sunday. And today we didn't hear progress either. So, I think the call to action tonight should be, all incumbents, you be informed that we're voting you out. You didn't give us stimulus. You didn't give us stimulus. You failed to come through and give us stimulus in our hands, and we're voting you out. It's as simple as that. And ultimately, you could decide if that is your call to the action for the president as well. The president, you have not done executive order. We have asked you to do executive order. You've not done executive order, so we're voting you out. At what point do we ultimately make the determination to say, okay, I'm just done with you, I'm voting you out? That's up to you. But the comments of the viewers in the last 2 days have been, I don't even care if they give us our stimulus in the next 7 days. I'm still voting them out. I've seen that comment almost every single page. Every 10 comments is that. It's now too late. You deserve to be voted out, even if you give us stimulus. Someone actually said in one of the comments, I think you could do LA 30 minutes of comedy routine on Nancy Pelosi and her stories. That I think I could. And I was thinking of doing this video, but I don't know. What I need you to understand, though, is that you have been owed certain things. And don't let someone think that you aren't owed those things. And as we go into vote in just a few weeks, this is where the people have left you. And I need to recap it with you right now. First, your states have about $150 billion sitting around for you that is unused from CARES Act 1, that is starting to be in the process of use or lose. And so I tell you every day to go on Google News and look for news articles with your city plus grant, your county plus grant, and look and see if that money's sitting around. And in most cases, the cities or counties have just issued news releases in the last few days, or they're starting to issue more news releases saying, hi, I have a grant program for stimulus, for rent, for food, for hazard pay. Come and apply. You need to go and apply for that money. Ultimately, those cities and counties have not done you well. And when you go to vote in 29 days from now, I hope you vote out your state officials, because they did not give you that money back in May when they got the money. They're now giving you the money in October, which is absolutely categorically insane. Imagine the city of Honolulu has hundreds of millions of billions of dollars that was given to it in CARES Act 1 and have not dispersed it to its citizens. Why not? I mean, what is the problem? You want to collect interest on the money in the bank? Yeah, I got it. It's truly ridiculous. So those elected officials need to be gone, in my opinion. You can do what you want, but my opinion is all your local because when you go to vote, when you go into the polling place, you're going to have local officials to vote for as well. State senate, your senators and your representatives. Boy, I would vote out every single one of them. I would be on social media, and you need to go on Twitter and find who your representative is and find out who your two senators are. Remember, you have two senators, and you have one representative, and tag them with an image. I'll make some images tonight and tomorrow that says, you know what? You didn't give me stimulus. I'm voting you out. And a lot of the other Purple Power members have been doing some beautiful pictures in the last 48 hours. Really beautiful. So keep it up. If I see them or you tag me, or share them with me, I will retweet them so everyone else sees them. You need to tell your elected officials, hey, guess what? You didn't give us stimulus. You're gone. I think that sort of pushes the envelope so that if they do turn around and give you the stimulus, they will have seen the looming threat of being voted out. Next, Nancy. A lot of people keep on talking about they want to vote Nancy out. I want to explain something to you because I don't think I've never mentioned this channel, so it may not be clear to some viewers. You, for example, a viewer in Texas, can't vote out Nancy. The way that you vote for a representative is you have to be in their representative district. So, for example, I'm clearly here in Los Angeles. She's clearly a representative from San Francisco. I can't vote for her and I can't vote against her. She's not from my representative district of California. So you can't, unfortunately, do anything about her. You can certainly make a lot of images to have her not chosen as the next Speaker of the House. I'm not quite sure the whole process of it, but as far as I recall, is that first of all, every representative is up for re-election. Every representative is up for re-election. Nancy Pelosi is up for re-election. And then when the representative results are in, then they choose a new Speaker of the House. You know, there should be a campaign so that she is never Speaker of the House again. This woman absolutely categorically does not represent the ideals of the Democratic Party. It's just horrible. Then we head to the president. Ultimately, you need to know and do what you think is best. I've debated a lot of how to deal with situations. Understand that this channel is not particularly a political channel. This is a channel to get you money. This is a channel to get you money, stimulus relief. And I've created Purple Power for the purposes of saying, hey, this is how we get stimulus relief. Ultimately, I've not turned this into a political party where I say, okay, this is the ticket that I want you to vote on, and I don't want you. You know, I know who I'm voting for. You know, and that was far before this channel even existed. But it's far before he didn't sign an executive order. But it's I already know who I'm voting for and who I'm not voting for. But ultimately, my personal opinion about who I'm voting for, not voting for, is not yours. I think that sometimes rises to social issues of who is more representative of what you believe in. But what's important to understand, and I think I used the wrong tense when I was referring to something in the prior sentence, so don't take my thing as an indication of who I'm voting for. I think I used the wrong tense just then. But what I need you to understand is you need to push the president. He has not done executive orders for you. The data tonight is very telling that the eyes of the American public are on this president and asking, why is there no stimulus? The important thing to understand as we go into the last 29 days before this election is that people just don't have money. I mean, CNBC can talk as much as they want about Tesla stock splits and talk as much as they want about TikTok stocks and Larry Ellison, who's worth $1 trillion. He's worth more than $5 trillion or something. They can talk about him, but that's not talking about the American people. American people have run out of money. They're gone through their life savings. They have no unemployment benefits being extended by enhanced unemployment benefits. They're not getting stimulus checks. They're really hurting. And it doesn't look like any of these elected officials really get it. And so ultimately, you get it. This family gets it. We're helping one another. And what you need to understand is we need to push. So the Purple Power call to action tonight is really sending the message to the president You don't give us stimulus, we're voting you out. I mean, or you have not given us stimulus, I'm voting you out. You've not given us stimulus. Okay, you're now out of the hospital. You have talked about how you want to do stimulus while you were in the hospital. Now you're out of the hospital. We're voting you out. You haven't given us stimulus. Then all the incumbents, the senators and the representatives, we're voting you out. Congratulations, we voted you out. You have not provided a stimulus. What's very important for you to understand is how much stimulus you were owed. And no one really talks about that on a regular basis. And I see it in the comments, and I wish I covered it more often. So I'm covering it right now. You are owed a check for the month of April for stimulus. You are owed a check for the month of May. You are owed a check for the month of June. Those were the months in which you were clearly owed checks. You went on a lockdown because of this pandemic, and that lockdown started around February or March and then continued at least till May and some places into June. You're owed a stimulus check for all those months. You didn't get either anything or one single check. That doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it, and I don't think that any elected official can ever explain to you why you never got those multiple checks. Then, what happened after that, those were supposed to be checks to survive a lockdown. What happened after that was the lockdown was lifted, and people were allowed to get back to work, but people didn't have a lot of money. And so they were to be provided stimulus so that they could rebound from their lockdown. The lockdown money was just to provide you money to survive the lockdown. That's what's so important to understand. April, May, and June's checks were to survive a lockdown. July's check was to get you back going and to revitalize this economy. July's check was not to provide you money to survive a lockdown. It was to get the economy going. Well, none of those checks existed, of course. Then August, then September. By September, lockdown started to happen. Okay, now we're in September. Now we're in October. Guess what's going to happen next month? Lockdowns are really going to happen in certain states. Now, I understand DeSantis in Florida is an absolute categorical nut. He's never going to lock down the government, the state, and everyone's going to die and whatever with his craziness. But in most states, a lot of states are going to go into lockdown. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to need money. Well, where's that money going to come from? Have any of these politicians prepared to give you money for November as a stimulus check, knowing very well that a lockdown is coming? No. What the problem with these politicians that I have is that they do things after the fact. They don't do it ahead of time. You know darn well there's going to be a lockdown this winter, at least 1 month, maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months. Have they prepared to get those stimulus checks out to anyone? Have they even written a bill about it? Nothing. They haven't prepared for anything. All they prepared to do is give salaries to people who do have jobs that work in the federal government, that make 6 figures a year. It's really quite awful. Then there's unemployment benefits, enhanced unemployment benefits, which is money for everyone. And I don't want to sit here and argue the number of it, but I do want to argue the weeks of it. It expired in late July. So you didn't get the last week of July. Well, why aren't we talking about retroactive FPUC to the date at which it expired? Why is Nancy and Steve talking about FPUC starting September 5th? What happened to the month of August? And why does LWA somehow alleviate the concerns not to provide benefits for 4 weeks? LWA was the president's fix. It wasn't the House, the Congress's fix. LWA should have nothing to do with FPUC. So you were entitled to FPUC for August, for September, and now we're here in October. So you're entitled at least to about 10 weeks of FPUC as we sit here today. Are they going to give them to you? No. You see how many things you're entitled to with these people and you're not getting it? And then there's hazard pay. You're entitled to that as well. You're entitled to working how you worked as a frontline worker during the pandemic. Ultimately, the amount is a whole discussion unto itself. But, it's a couple dollars an hour at least. The hazard pay bill from the Senate, from the House was $13 an hour. It doesn't have to be $13 an hour. It could be $10 an hour. It could be $5 an hour. But it's something. You worked all those months, haven't gotten anything. And then there's Republicans like Brady, Bradley and Portman, who says people who got back to work after the pandemic lockdowns were lifted, who are not essential workers, were entitled to a back to work supplement because they didn't have a lot of money to get back to work at. Absolutely categorically incredible. If you remember my recordings from July, I said the Portman plan was absolutely incredible. Not by itself, but it's absolutely incredible on top of everything else, because when you got back to work, you weren't given full 40 hours a week. You know, if you worked in a restaurant, the boss only had a few hours because they're still trying to figure out how to do this outdoor dining, things like that. So you need additional money. Portman wanted to give you about $400 a week for 4 weeks, about $1,600. Didn't get that either. Didn't get any of these darn things. And so as we sit here tonight and we wonder, are we going to vote for these people when they go off for re-election? I'm not. I'm not voting for one single one of them. They have absolutely not given us a penny. And this is probably the worst pandemic, well, it's the worst economic shutdown of our economy, probably of our entire generation. We'll never see anything like this again. This was the time in which the politicians, the elected officials, were to provide us economic relief. And literally, as we sit here today, how much did you get? If it wasn't for EIDL grant, which helped a lot of people, if it wasn't for EIDL loan, which helped a lot of people, if it wasn't for PPP that helps a lot of people would only be left with at most a $1,200 stimulus check. It's reasons like this that we have the Purple Power. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe. I'll see you on social media tonight and tomorrow. Also like this video. Start those images. I'll be making some images. The president, the elected officials, you didn't give us stimulus, we're voted you out. We're going to start doing that now, because ultimately if they do give us stimulus, then it worked. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and see you tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with Morning to LALATE. Thank you for making today a great night. Let's get to 290 and have a great evening. Take care.